What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here, and I want to show you something that I just got. Laid them on the floor here because they're big, but they are floor mats for my Porsche Cayenne. And I've seen these things, I've seen videos and them listed on eBay and Amazon, and I always kind of wondered about them. They're like these quilted floor mats. You can get them in some other patterns, but the quilting is, you know, this diamond quilting is kind of the style that was originally kind of advertised. I think some companies even kickstarted some of these things, but they are floor mats, and I'm just going to put this down here. And they're kind of expensive. I mean, floor mats, I guess, are expensive, whether the WeatherTech floor liners or the Aries, and I love those. But these aren't maybe any more expensive than those. But I kind of want to quick show you a little preview of it. This is the rear floor mat here. And you can see it's all one piece, and there is a piece here for the hump. Now, what you might be saying is the shape seems a little weird, and that's because I think it's actually inside out. So it's kind of like when you sew a t-shirt, you sew it inside out. So I think I have to push this piece like this, because now I think this will go fit around the seat. And then this is going to actually stick up, is my guess, you know, and almost prevent you from putting your toes underneath the seat in front of you. And then this is going to cover the transmission hump here. And so there's going to be a number of places where it's going to look a little weird, but I think you just have to kind of turn these things inside out to get them fit. Now on the back side, it kind of feels a little bit like the sharp side of a Velcro strip, but it's not quite like that. But it is like really sticky, hairy, little plastic fibers. And so I think I'm going to take out my original floor mats and just put these down, but then I think this little sticky fibrous piece or under portion here will kind of hold it in place. Now the front mats are also very similar, and again they're almost like liners, so I think you have to push this to get them actually in the right spot. This to me looks like it's probably the passenger side. This will kind of go up the transmission tunnel, and I think this kind of wraps around the front portion of the seat. And then it also came with this attached here. These look like some hooks and mounts. There's some metal tabs in here. I think if you wanted to lock it in place, they're like thumbtacks actually. So I don't know if I'll need these or even want these, but again, when you have this much material going into the vehicle, you don't want it sliding around. You certainly don't want it bunching up underneath the accelerator or brake pedals. And so let's put it in and see what it looks like. Installing these is more like stuffing it in. I just want to show you here, this big front flap actually folds under the seat here, so it doesn't go just, it's got to get kind of tucked away, so you have to massage everything, but so far things are a pretty good fit. You can see how high this one side goes up all the way, covering up pretty much all the fabric on that center tunnel there. So kind of just tucking it all in here, and then on this side, this flap kind of just tucks in there, you know, so it really hides pretty much anything that is carpeting. So I think it's pretty good. That's the driver's side. Let's get the rest installed. And as I'm installing the back here, I realized I actually had it backwards. These turned up edges do not go underneath the front seat. They actually cover the front carpeting, the carpeting on the front of the back seats. You can see here, everything's really nicely made. I mean, the fit so far is really nice. It's nice and tight, but you can see here that that'll cover up the carpeting that goes up underneath the seat here. And this kind of all presses into place. Even on the side here, things just kind of get tucked into place for the most part. I don't think you can use those tacks and those little plastic backings to attach things down, I think, and kind of move them in place. But I'm just going to use this for general protection, so I'm not going to make it too permanent. All right, so I got everything in here, and kind of my final thoughts on it are, yeah, you could use those tacks. Those tacks are really kind of rivets that meet with those little plastic backings, and I think you could use those to hold this in place, you know, or to attach to the carpet a little more. But I think just laying it in the way it is actually is pretty nice. And you can see here, even the fit that goes over that center tunnel is pretty nice. And as you might be able to see here, I do like the fact that this material comes up all the way and then tucks under the seats. It's some nice attention to detail. And in terms of something that's not a molded plastic, you know, that's going to be drop-in like WeatherTech, that's going to be a really kind of solid piece of floor liner that's going to fit in almost, you know, perfectly. You know, for being fabric and having all of that variability as it kind of moves and as you sew it, I think that looks pretty good. And does it give it a little bit of a luxury look? Yeah, for sure. But I think more than anything, it's going to kind of work like a floor liner and not have that kind of hollow tinginess that you get with plastic and not look like a work truck. And that's kind of what I wanted to do here, is preserve the carpets from getting too much salt, snow, dirt, and debris, but not kind of turn it into more of a work vehicle look like my Fiat does. Now, if we look at the front here, and you kind of saw it on the other side, again, the devil's in the details, and they did some nice things. There was a little bit of a hump here on that center transmission tunnel, and so they've done a nice job of kind of sewing in this kind of like additional piece here that accommodates that. I also like the fact that it tucks up underneath here. Now, there's a drawer right here which you're going to lose access to by covering that up, but that's kind of, I think, the penalty for, you know, having something like this. I think I might be able to force those under the plastic there or something, but I'm not going to really try that too much. As you can see, I can't get these underneath the door sills here. It's going to sit on top of it, but otherwise everything looks pretty good. Now, the one thing I really don't like that much, and this is the same for the driver's side, is I know that it's continuing to look by covering the carpeting all the way up the side here, but I'm going to try to see if maybe I can tuck this in under the center tunnel maybe. I don't know if that's going to be really practical. I don't want to force anything, and I don't want any creaks or groans from anything as I'm kind of forcing things to separate. But if you get into it, what you have is this really clear look of this piece kind of flopping around here, and because it's, you know, there's probably half an inch of gap here, and because it's a little loose, it obviously looks pretty aftermarket, but it does protect everything, you know, especially if you've got dirty shoes or something like that bumping up against it. So I don't know if I can kind of finish that off a little more and get that under there, but I'll probably tinker around with that. Now, that's being said, I think they're pretty nice and pretty good value. I'm not sure if I would need this piece up there. That might be the only thing that I might throw out there, is something that they could even almost drop off or have it cut lower. But it does look pretty nice. And the driver's side here has an additional plastic piece where there's gonna be some additional wear from the heel of your foot, which is nice that they put that in there. Now, in terms of look, they definitely have a little bit of a luxury car look, so it's kind of an easy way to dress up any car, really, you know, even if it's not a luxury car. And like I said, I think the real benefit of this is you get floor liner like protection, maybe not quite as good as my Aries or a WeatherTech, but it has a lot more style, and I think maybe a little bit nicer sound dampening, but also sound when your feet hit it, so that it doesn't sound like a work vehicle and there's a lot of clanking around. Now, in terms of value, these things are a little expensive. They're usually over $100 for the set. You know, if you compare those to other floor liners, that's not too terribly expensive. But if you compare them to just even custom floor mats, that can be pretty pricey. So you have to kind of make up your own mind of whether or not you think that is worth it. But, you know, I like them so far. So I will try them out this winter. Hopefully they'll protect my carpets, but I'll put a link to them in the description too if you want to get some for your car. Peter from Panda. Out!